Abay Joly.
Mukhtar Auezov's novel about the life of the great poet Abay, called The Path of Abai, conveys deeply the national spirit and reveals the essence of folk traditions. Hello, you're watching Kazakh Live Dastur. Today we will travel to the world of Abay's literary legacy.
Бүгін Abay әлеміне саяхат жасаймыз.
This year, our country marks 175th birth anniversary of the Kazakh poet Abai Kunanbaev. Today, the guest of the program is a teacher of the boarding school with in-depth study of the Kazakh language and literature, Gizat Tileuberdiuly. We will discuss the works and poetry of the outstanding philosopher.
Мұғалімі, шебер педагог Gizat Tileuberdiuly.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to see you in our studio. The life of Abai was closely connected to traditions. Our first question is about Abai's childhood. What kind of child he was? What kind of upbringing did he receive?
You're right. Thanks for the invitation. Indeed, while studying Abai's life from birth to his death, we can evidence that his life was intertwined with representation of the Kazakh traditions. The very fact that he was called Abai is associated with folk wisdom. When Kunanbaev left for work, he saw the prophet Ibrahim in his dream. The prophet ordered him to name his child as Ibrahim. It was with the light hand of the mother and grandmother that the father's name Ibrahim was replaced by the affectionate Abai, which means prudent and thoughtful. Abai's grandmother Zire, lulling the boy, sang the cradle song, calling him gently as Abai. Over time, the name Ibrahim was forgotten, and people got accustomed to call him as Abai.
Under this name, he lived his whole life and went down in history. As we can see, already in childhood, certain traditions were associated with his name. Tell us, please, about the traditions that were mentioned in the novel The Path of Abai, and about which people gradually began to forget. You're right. Some traditions are forgotten, some still remain relevant. We know that the writer Mukhtar Auezov skillfully revealed the meaning of many folk traditions in this outstanding novel. In particular, there is an absolute right.
Бізде қолданыста көп қолданбай жүрген ол бауырға салу, яғни мына бала асырап алу деген бір керемет салт дәстүр.
Бауырға салу, which means adoption. The novel describes this tradition in detail. Despite the spiritual anguish and doubts as a result of disputes, Kunanbaev gives his crying little daughter Kamshat.
Әкелік қимастық сезімі болса да, аналық жаңағы қимастық сезімі болса да, бірақ ел мен жердің берекесі үшін, бірлігі үшін.
To the family of Joly, for the sake of peace among people and for the sake of unity. Through this episode, Mukhtar Auezov makes it clear that traditions have always been revered, that wise elders, Aksakals and Beys, valued first of all peace and tranquility among the people.
Елдің арасындағы татулықты жоғары қойғандығы бізге үлкен үлгі өнеге болады.
Through thick and thin, no matter how difficult it was for parents, despite their feelings and sorrow, they cared for the welfare of the people and had to act this way. I think that we should presently advocate such values passed down from ancient times.
There
is another wonderful custom called leverate. The meaning of the tradition is currently clear to everyone. But how was it presented in the novel? When the younger brother of Abai, Osman, dies, according to the custom, the widow should marry her dead husband's brother.
Абайдың Osmanның бауырларына бергісі келеді. Сол кезде Тәкежан
A wealthy man of the village, Takizhan, expressed his desire to marry the widow Yerkizhan. But he pursued the ultimate goal, to seize power, wealth, which the youngest son of Kunanbaev Osman possessed when he was alive. Abai simply wanted to take care of his brother's wife, with whom he was close.
Кете өскен Оспанның аманатын ары қарай жаңағы қолтығына қысып демеп, соған бір қамқорлық таныту болады да.
Therefore, following a folk wisdom, by decision of the elders, the widow was given the right to choose a husband.
Біз әмеңгерлікте тек ер адамдар немесе белгілі бір адамдар шешпеген, сол кездегі би шешендер.
The outcome of the custom was determined not only by men of certain people. The wise elders made their decision and then asked the widow's opinion also. Yerkizhan chose Abai. She understood that Abai would show parental care, support, and will always be there in difficult moments. Therefore, mentioning this tradition, one cannot imply only feelings between man and a woman or about financial interest. This tradition implies taking care of a widow. People say a wife can leave her husband, but not her people. This means that widows were not disregarded. They always remained in the family. This wonderful tradition reflected in the novel is nothing but a way to preserve family values.
Өмір сүруі, яғни мынау бүгінгі күнде айтып жатқан отбасы құндылығын сақтаудың негізгі қайнар бұлағы осы романда тағы да бір әдемі дәстүрдің біреуі болып жалғасады.
The custom to give the wife of the deceased man to his brother described in the novel shows how strong the bonds had been within the family, how strictly the people adhere to the policy of the family. If families divide widows and orphans, they will lose wealth and well-being.
Сақталғандығы анық көрінеді. Себебі әйелмен бірге, жесірмен де, жетіммен де сол елдің дәулеті де бөлініп кетуі мүмкін.
Енді Абайды
As part of studying the Kazakh language and literature, we should always adhere to the literary legacy of Abai. There are verses of Abai, the book of words. It's necessary not only to ask children to learn them by heart, but also to dwell on their meaning. Words, construction of sentences, winged words, geographical names. Studying the novel The Path of Abai in schools helps to strengthen children's respect towards the past, history, the wisdom of our ancestors, and culture.
Онда ол баланың өткенге деген құрметі артып, өткен тарихымызға, өткен ата-бабамыздың сөзіне, ісіне деген құрметі артады деп ойлаймын.
Гизат мырза,
It is wonderful. Gizat, thank you very much for such interesting information about Abai. I wish health to your students who continue the path of Abai. We wish every Kazakh to contribute to the prosperity of the nation.
біздің көк туымызды мәңгі желбіретуге дәл осындай әрбір қазақ күш сала берсін.
Amen. May your wishes come true.
In white clothes, powerful, gray-bearded, winter comes notwithstanding life difficulties, and it hits the nature with its frosty mist. As winter covers the land with its fine white veil, merriment like water, youth is a misfortune. You better try to know with your mind, whether it's friendship, whether it's hostility, everything that people glorify. Don't be too attracted by it. Take your time, my friend. Job must be the subject of your worries.
Жарығай, сәулесі суда дірілдеп, ауылдың маңы терең сай, тасыған өзен гүрілдеп.
Абай шығармашылығы терең философия.
Abai's works represent deep philosophical reflections on the life of people. Thorough knowledge is required to perceive the meaning. Transformation into the character of Abai requires hard work.
Халық Абай деп таниды.
The next guest of the studio is known as the actor performing the character of Abai, the honored worker of Kazakhstan, the actor of theater and cinema, laureate of the Order of Kurmet, Bolat Abdelmanov. Welcome.
Қош келдіңіз.
Thank you.
Біздің негізгі мақсатымыз Қазақ.
Our main purpose is to popularize as well as to revive the Kazakh traditions and customs. How do you think is the theme of customs, rituals, and traditions deeply revealed in the works of Abai? In connection with the upcoming 175th birth anniversary of Abai, jointly with the talented playwright Madina Omarova, we wrote the play, The Great Mystery of Abai. It will be staged in several regional theaters. Auezov Theater already started to stage the play. There is such an interesting episode. In the Soviet times, many literary works served as a representation of requirements of the era. For example, in a play about Abai, the main character says such a phrase: "It's enough for your science and rights." But now we present the viewer the performances adapted to the present time, full of traditions and national culture. And there is such a scene which shows the meaning of Abai and Toghjan.
Көрерменге мынау тәуелсіз ұлттық дәстүрді бойына сіңірген көрерменге арнап жаздық. Сонда мысалы мынандай жер бар. Абай мен Тоғжан.
They confess their love for each other. At this moment, Kunanbaev appears. Seeing him, Toghjan leaves, and he says, "Give up vain hopes, my son. She has a bridegroom, and you have a bride-elect." Abai exclaims, "How is that, father? What about our mutual love?" Kunanbaev answers him, "There is a feeling much deeper than the love of two young people. This is love for the land, for the people, for traditions."
Бұл қыз атастырылып қойған. Және сенің де атастырылған қалыңдығың бар, дейді. Соңғы Абай айтады, әке бұл қалай? Біз бір-бірімізді жақсы көреміз ғой.
We have become a great nation because we keep and pass down these traditions from a grandfather to a son, from a son to a grandson. If you do not adhere to traditions, then our lifestyle will be violated.
Жеріңе, дәстүріңе деген махаббат. Біз ата-бабамыз осыншама ғасыр бойы сол дәстүрін ұстау арқылы атадан балаға.
We cannot let this happen. This is a tradition and we must revere it. Love towards tradition is beyond your love to a woman. Abai answered quietly, "I understand my father." And in the period of breaking up with Toghjan, he wrote his poems, "Сәп-сәп көңілім."
Жеріңе, дәстүріңе деген махаббат. Біз ата-бабамыз осыншама ғасыр бойы сол дәстүрін ұстау арқылы атадан балаға.
Producing these lines, he called himself to patience, sacrificed his feelings for the sake of traditions, and followed his father's will.
Өзінің ұлтының дәстүрінің жолында құрбан етіп, яғни әкесінің айтқан ділдәмен қосылады.
It's impressive. So he chose the traditions instead of his love. Sure, he had ultimate love towards his people and folk traditions.
We touched upon the theme of traditions, and now let's talk about you. You play the character of Abai. The director's idea also implies some responsibilities on you. You have to represent a sophisticated character.
Сізге жаңа өзіңіз айтқандай үлкен жауапкершілік.
Nevertheless, you became famous for portraying perfectly the character of Abai. And who was the first to offer you to play the role of a great poet? Being a young actor, I worked at Musrepov Youth Theater. I was 30 years old back then. The director of the theater was the deceased Raimbek Seitmetov, who was the People's Artist of Kazakhstan, laureate of the State Prize. He staged the poetic performance Qalin Yelim Qazaghim. The performance reveals 4 live stages of Abai. I played the oldest Abai. The next time I returned to the role by the age of 40, thanks to the great Kazakh director, people's hero who became famous not only in Asia but throughout the Soviet Union. He was awarded the State Prize. He was a talented director, Azerbaijan Mambetov. In honor of his 70th birthday, Kazakh first president invited him to Nur-Sultan. Azerbaijan Mambetov was met warmly and awarded with the order. The first president gave him the title of the People's Hero of Kazakhstan. Afterwards, the first president asked, "What are you dreaming of presently?" And he replied, "I dream of working again at Auezov Theater and stage Abai at my 70th birthday there." It's interesting. He explained the reason, citing Abai saying, which conveys a deep philosophical meaning. "I raised a puppy. It approached adulthood and bit my leg. I gave a gun to my friend to teach him hunting, and he shot me in the heart." So everyone agreed to stage the performance. The director Mambetov started his work in Auezov Theater. Once a famous Kazakh opera singer, Khurlan Kalyambekova, asked him,
whom he was going to give the leading role to. He replied that he had already made a decision. As Khurlan Kalyalanbekova writes in her memoirs, she began to guess and list prominent actors. Many have already passed away, and he said that she didn't know him because he was a young actor. I was then 40 years old, so Azerbaijan Mambetov returned to Auezov Theater and staged the drama Abai in 2001. I played the key role. At that time, it was strictly required that several actors acted in a play. Therefore, 2 more actors performed the role of Abai along with me. But the director immediately announced that he didn't need other actors performing Abai's character. I will stage the play only with Bulat Abdelmanov, he said. I can definitely say that this performance made me famous.
Құдайға тәуба, мені халыққа танымал қылды десем болады.
Some actors, in order to better get into character, experience various situations. What can you tell about your preparations? Sure, 2-3 days before the performance, I stay alone at home. I do not see friends or relatives. I create such an atmosphere of privacy when I can prepare thoroughly and study my character. I even saw Abai in my dreams for several times. In a dream, I was walking in a white robe in a store selling diamonds. I saw Abai, mirrors, so I had such interesting dreams. Such things happen. It's really mysticism. It's like to resuscitate the image. Abai wrote beautiful words. Let nature be impermanent, but not a human. However, he will not return forever. We call the death the separation of the soul with its shell, being guilty of sin. Here the poet means the parting of the soul with the body. That is, the soul of the deceased human never dies. The soul lives on. It is eternal, floats through the heavens. Yes, the soul soars. In general, people of art put some kind of tragedy from real life while portraying the certain character. For example, actors represent some dramatic moment. They show some kind of anxiety. Actors live through these anxieties, empathize with the heart, and convey those feelings to a viewer. Viewers also feel empathy towards the characters' feelings. They witness a new world of the characters. Actors need to live through various feelings. The viewer evaluates actors' emotions, state, understands whether he plays sincerely or simply conveys phrases. The modern viewer can be deceived. Therefore, it's necessary to feel the fate, the tragedy. 45 words of edification by Abai reveal his evolution, the path of personal growth. The Book of Words describes his experiences and anxieties through the whole life. For example, I want to cite 2 works by Abai, My Kazakhs, My Poor People, and 8-line stanza. I would call them the most heart-touching essays from the book. In addition, Abai presented the Quran in the poetic form. Just simply go deeply into his poems and you will understand this. For example, Abai writes, "Clear the heart spring and you will receive the light of God. And if it penetrated you, you will be a discerning man." The meaning of these words is that if you want to do good to a person, first start with a kind word. Good purifies the heart and softens evil heart. And the softer one's heart, the stronger its faith.
And faith brings you closer to God.
In addition, I can cite another poem. God discerns you without words.
Do not discern God's servant as an enemy.
My brother, by faith, don't argue with the obvious. Think about the sign of humanity. That is, the God created mankind. If a person does evil to another one, then he goes against the Creator. This legacy of Abai is relevant for our time. People are losing virtues. They're becoming cruel even with relatives and with surrounding ones. Everyone should read the words of the edification by Abai and draw conclusions. This would make people kinder to loved ones, friends, society, to the people in general. If the heart is wide, there is always a place for all relatives and even for all Kazakhs. This is the philosophy of Abai regarding the humanity. We should do merits. For example, people wonder why Abai criticized the Kazakhs so much. While criticizing his people, through poems he addressed the whole world. Since there are nations lazier and more ambitious than the Kazakhs, Abai stressed 3 things that destroy the human race, such as ignorance, laziness, and evil doing. A man should read these lines and think deeply. Trade not honor, but trade your labor. There are 3 true human virtues worth possessing: unbending will, clear mind, and a kind heart. Abai represents the philosophy of all mankind. That is why we call him Abai for humanity.
Ыстық қайрат, нұрлы ақыл, жылы жүрек дейді. Сонда ол бүкіл адамзат қарнап отыр өзінің философиясы. Сондықтан міне адамзаттың Абай деп айтатынымыз сол.
Abai seemed to retell the Quran in the language of poetry. Yes, thank you so much for the conversation. You told us so many interesting things. We wish you inexhaustible inspiration. Remain in the memory of the people in the image of the great Abai.
Шарықтай берсін. Мәңгі Абайдың бейнесінде, халық есінде қала беріңіз.
Thank you. Such a program promoting national traditions is a very good initiative. May the young generation develop and be spiritually enriched thanks to your program. I wish peace to all the people.
Еліміз аман болсын, заман тыныш болсын.
Amen. The depth of wisdom and the truth of words is a gift invaluable to us even after 1,000 years. Indeed, the great Abai became a symbol of the culture and traditions of the Kazakh people. You watch the Kazakh Live Dastur program with Tamara Asar. See you soon.
Tamara Asarмен амандықта жолығайық.
Терең бойлар, мен бір жұмбақ адаммын, оны дойлар, соқтықпалы соқпақсыз, жерде өстім, мұңмен жалғыз алыстым, кінә қойма, соқтықпалы соқпақсыз,